Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monza, right here for the GT3 Sprint Series, brought to you by Raceface. My name is Steven, the world's fastest backmarker Koenig, and joining me in the booth is the world's slowest alien, Janneman Price. Janneman, how are you doing?
Good evening, Steven. Yes, coming to you live tonight from the Temple of Speed that is Monza. And Steven, looking at the cars out of tracks quickly here on the side screen, I think this is going to be one epic race that we're going to have on our hands tonight. Turn 1 at Monza, normally eventful. Hopefully the guys get through it cleanly. It's one of the fastest racetracks around the world that you can race around, Steven. So really looking forward to this one tonight.
Well, it used to be one big high-speed oval at one point, and some of the track's still there. But let's take a look at the track preview. And Janneman, you've done plenty of laps for your preparation of the race tomorrow. Why don't you take us through?
Yeah, as I said, Monza, absolutely great racetrack. You come down this long pit straight, then you reach the rectifilio chicane. You need to slam on the brakes right out to first gear, get back on the power as soon as possible, and then you go through the long curve grande onto the second chicane. And then, Steven, it's kind of a slow entry, fast exit through that chicane. You can go through that chicane a lot quicker than you realize. Then short straight, and then onto the Lesmo corners, the Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2, Lesmo 1, long sweeping right-hander, and then you, on that short straight, need to hit the brakes through the Lesmo 2, and then you, on what we can call the back straight, go through there, slide kink on it, and then you reach the last of the three chicanes, the Variante Ascari, the Ascari chicane. Hit that entry curb as much as you dare, and then go through that right-hander, carrying as much speed as possible, and then cut as much of that exit curb as you can, and use as much of the track as you can on exit to carry as much speed as possible. And now you're on the straight down to the famous Parabolica. Kind of a tricky corner. It tightens up on you a little bit, and then it opens up a bit. So you need to hit that brake marker, get the car turned in, get as soon as you can back on the power, and try and balance the car out so that you don't lose the back end. This is a part of the track where we can see cars get a bit lively, as we saw in the practice server just before the race started. Cars tend to lose it through there. The guys, they get on that gas a little bit too much, and around she goes, and you're on the straight back for another lap of Monza.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. Let's take a look down to the circuit and raise the volume up, because we love having the sound of the engines roaring around, especially the 298 Ferrari Kurt Kloschken as we take a look. But let's see who is climbed up to the top so far. Justin Lotus has actually climbed up quite a bit, and Justin Lotus working incredibly hard to improve his times here at Monza, and his quick start time 1:47.8, but it does look like Ryan Otten's looking to put an end to that rather quickly with a 1:47. He's 0.4 up, so I'm expecting to see a 1:47.4 that may come out of it. Daniel De Villiers in third place, followed by Nicholas Manuel, Sunjan Pillay, Daniel Dematros Petro, SES Dace, Mac van der Merwe, Jason McGregor, Alan Patterson, Jean Leroux, Kurt Kloschken, Werner Skuman, Cameron De Bastos, Conrad Fulsting, along with Johan van der Merwe in 17th. 17th is Andre Serradio. Well, yeah, 18th is Andre Serradio. I do apologize, guys, I'm jumping around. Johan Kleinans, our usual texter, who he's not quite using text to speak, but multitasking. Paul Herber down in 20th position. So we're in for a very, very interesting run, I think. But we've also got to say a shout out to our Raceface spectators out there on the grandstands. Janneman, we have got our spectators. Unfortunately, we also see a couple of guys not able to race, and Robert McCall going and saying load shedding got them. Can you believe it? Oh man, my heart goes out to it, because I was really, really looking forward to seeing the McCalls out there, because it will be the return of Junior McCall to join his brother. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen those two go and square up. Giovanni Paul Zero is saying, hello! Glad to see you guys out there. So hopefully I got it. Paul zero.
You need to pause for that one.
I
Pause.
was Paul zero. I've
Yeah.
been trying. And then we've got Dan Gleesick going and rounding out in the grandstand so far. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the bell notification icon. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers here at Raceface, and I'm glad to see it. Even Bago jumping in. Well, Bago, I want you to be out on the circuit. And I think we've got a problem with Bago. Poor man has got the vibes to go and lose some money tonight. So
I see that he's he's trying to how can I put it?
winter's harsh on people.
Yeah,
Winter's very harsh. You know, gotta get some fuel for the generator. Sorry,
let's put
Bago.
let's put it that way. So Bago basically said he's too old to do sprint races.
That's why I can't have the volume up.
Yeah,
That's why. Okay.
it's normally the longer races that I suffer in.
I have to agree with him. The shorter races are action-packed. We've seen with the sprint races, there is no room for anyone to lose time, and there's no room to laxy-daisy. You have to give it everything you got. 55 minutes of the sprint race and a big change to what it was.
What is Bago going to do for an hour and 20 minutes tomorrow night? He's going to send it.
You can have a battle again. I know Daniel Rowe and him love going and checking each other's wing mirrors. We saw it numerous times last season.
No, they're just checking out each other's liveries.
Ryan Otten's up into first place. Nicholas Manuel down in second. Nicholas Manuel really been pushing hard for his team and part of the ZAR team. He's in the Skechers car, but second place, and take a look, 0.077 off first place. Justin Lotus, 0.095. I mean, top three are extremely close, and Sanjan Pillay, 0.5 up on his last lap time, is looking to also get into this. So, I mean, it's getting there. And shout out to, I'm going to get this right because I have been ribbed more than once about it, Cameron de Bastos. There we go. Cameron de Bastos. Not Tabasco sauce, but de Bastos. Heading out onto the circuit.
Well, Stephen, the thing that I'm actually keeping an eye on, I mean, we're now going, what's it, the top 20, yeah, just over top 21. I would say top 20, let's go top 20. Separated by less than a second. It's only 21st place. Oh, well, now 21st place. Okay, it's jumping around a little bit on the timing screens. So now it's the top 19. But what I wanted to say is basically the top 20, separated by a second.
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, De Villiers also jumping up. The hitman Daniel De Villiers out there not going and taking any targets down tonight, except he's looking to target that podium position.
Hasn't he put the hit out on you for saying that the whole time?
What can I say? It's very difficult to kill someone that is too slow.
Yeah, but Stephen, have a look at that. The top 5 separated by less than 0.3 of a second. So at this stage, with not much time to go, 4 minutes to go in qualifying, we've got our fight on for pole, to say that.
No, that's definitely it. I mean, Nicholas Manuel up 0.1 as he makes his way through. He's just got to keep it all together. But I'm very, very surprised to see the guys. And we've heard that the Ferraris are very powerful around the circuit. And Sanjan Pillay actually putting himself into first and yeeting himself right across. Just going and clearing out the barrier. But
he's just clearing it for lap 1 assault.
That's
just so you have a view for lap 1.
That's it. So you know where you're going.
Yeah.
Sanjan Pillay up into first place. Ryan Otten's into second place. Daniel De Villiers, good to see a new name up the field. Lamborghini, nonetheless, going and putting itself into third place. Christian Venter coming back. He's in fourth place in the Porker. In the good old Porsche. 992 GT3 has really been showing off what it can do. And as you say, sounds really reminiscent of its GTE counterpart in terms of that flat 6 really working with the exhaust note. Nicholas Manuel up into 5th, Justin Lotus in 6th, Jan Kleinans into 7th, Jason McGregor into 8th, 9th place Jason Abschmeyer, along with Gideon Reyna in 10th. I mean, we've seen some new names popping up. Mac van der Merwe down in 11th place, Tini Nkube into 12th place. I mean, it's good to see guys are moving around. There is some great interest in going and pushing themselves a little bit more every single time. I mean, that's what we love to see. Guys really pushing the boundaries, pushing the limits, and focusing on wanting that podium spot come the end of the season.
I mean, absolutely. The guys' pace, they're increasing every race. And also the thing is, we're on to race 3. So the guys that are on new cars, not just the new cars on the sim, but the guys that have moved over from other cars, they're starting to get to grips with those cars a little bit more. And we've seen it, as the season progresses, they become quicker and quicker in the new car that they've picked. Like, for instance, the Porsche, the new Ferrari, the new Lamborghini. It's new territory when you get into it first. And really, Stephen, you need to figure out what makes the car work. What makes it tick? What makes it quick?
Well, that's it. And I know you've been spending a bit of time with different guys and getting to grips with what's going on and how the guys have been using different thought processes of getting the cars sorted out, getting them dialed in, trying to figure out the right driving lines. Just the new physics are becoming very interesting to it. So I'm very curious. I'm honestly very curious. A couple of guys are saying that the Ferraris look a bit sketchy, but the BMWs are very, very stable. That could be a factor. But we cannot also lose sight. It's a 55-minute race with one mandatory pit stop. They have to put at least 1 liter. Yes, you heard me right. 1 liter. 2 small buddy cool drinks in the tank to count as a pit stop. And your tires. Because this track looks simplistic, it is seemingly easy, doesn't mean that it doesn't put too much strain onto the tires, especially through the high-speed sections, because you're really relying on the outside left front and out to go and hold on while you're moving around. You've got to worry about that left rear through parabolica for the front engines, like the BMW. That takes an absolute hammering and, well, makes you wonder. One stop with no tires or put tires on? We're about to find out.
Absolutely. You mentioned the left rear, and I've done 1 or 2 laps. That left rear, sometimes it tends to get a bit hot, and luckily you do have the long straights that can cool it down again, but it does not, favor tire wear at all. And it's not just, we're not just talking about parabolica. You're talking about the 2 Lesmo corners as well, where you, especially Lesmo 2, where you tend to lean on that left rear quite a lot.
These are all things that can weigh down and really change the aspect of the race, because if you're getting pushed hard enough, there is a possibility you're going to land up losing a lot. So, as qualifying comes to the end, Ryan Ottens taking first place with Sanjan Pillay down into second place, trying to better his lap time. Nicholas Manuel in third, Daniel de Villiers in fourth, Justin Lotus in fifth, Christian Venter in sixth, Jan Kleinans in seventh, Ramona Jonker in eighth, ninth place Jason McGregor, and Jason Abschmeyer. He's 0.1 up on his last lap time. He's lying in 10th place. It is a possibility he can get this right. But we cannot also throw out Mac van der Merwe. He's 0.1 up. Mahath Musa, 0.4 up on his last lap time. So the guys are still pushing and giving it everything they got to really try and get themselves across the line and move up. Because where's the safest place to start on Monza? And a lot of people are going to say start from the pit, start at the back, let the accidents happen. But realistically, what we've seen is the guys have gotten, well, a little bit easier in terms of they're not shoving each other off as much as, not going door to door. They're giving enough breathing room. And I think we may see a change where turn one is not the scariest thing. Mahath Musa putting himself into third for the first time in this season and last season. Well done, Mahath Musa. Well,
Yeah.
let's head back to
Having
the
a look.
commentary.
Having at the front of the grid. So we got Ryan Ottens and Sanjay Pillay in the 2 Ferraris, followed by 2 BMWs of Musa and Manuel. So it does look like the BMWs are not doing too badly on a track like Monza. But Stephen, you were talking about turn 1. Going into turn 1, I would still prefer to be on the outside and not being, bunched up on the inside. At least on the outside, you do have a little bit of an escape route to take should you need to do so. Yes, they've thrown the polystyrene bollards there, so you've got an additional chicane to go through. You still will lose some time, but at least you have the ability to get through on the other side unscathed.
Well, let's take a walk down to our grid and start getting... And as we lined up, let's take a walk through with our, well, fancy little walk system. So, gentlemen, let's take us through. Ryan Ottens in first place, Sanjan in second, along with Mahath Musa and Nicholas Manuel in fourth place. Your turn.
Yeah, fifth place, we've got Daniel de Villiers. Sixth place, Daniel de Martos Reto. So the 2 Daniels keeping each other company. Seventh, Justin Lotus. Eighth, Christian Venter. Ninth, Jason Amsmeyer. 10th, we've got Mac van der Merwe. That's rounding out the top 10. 11th place, we've got Jan Kleinans. Romano Jonker, 12th place. Jason McGregor in 13th place. 14th place, we've got Tina Nkube. 15th place, we've got Gideon Renner. 16th place, Ande Seradio. 17th, Johan van der Merwe. 18th, Eric Gerstein. 20th, Cameron de Bastos. 19th place, Cameron de Bastos. 20th place, Kurt Glashagen. 21st place, Werner Skuman. 22nd, we've got Quan Duplessis. 23rd place, Conrad Volskink. 24th place, Alan Patterson. 25th, Tinas Buerta. 26th place, Jean Leroux. 27th, Darren Miller. 28th place, Paul Gerber. 29th, Essie Esterhazen. 30th, Hansi Meiberg. 31st, Jandre Buerta. 32nd, Jaco Grobler. 33rd place, Graham Mall, and that rounds off the field of 33 cars that is going to start this race. Made it just in time for the formation lap to start.
Well, I can take my hat off to you, Jan. You can, I think everyone on the grandstands at the Raceface grandstand can agree that, well, you can quite happily become an auctioneer.
Nah, I don't speak too quick enough for that one. But Stephen, Ryan Ottens, Sanjay Pillay leading out this field with the 2 hybrid academy cars. Almost looks like they're out on a photo shoot at the moment.
Well, that's it. But they've got to worry about Mahath Musa and Nicholas Manuel, who have put in some very, very impressive times. And the BMW's been shown that they are fairly strong here. And Daniel de Villiers, don't count him out in the Lamborghini. He's got the bit between his teeth at the moment. He's said that he wants to go for the first place. He wants to go for the podium spot and really show what he can do, which is great to see that man really focus on trying to claw his way to the top. Last season was a little bit of a learning curve, trying to figure things out, but it seems like he's gotten to grips with that Lamborghini. But Daniel de Matros-Petro is one to keep an eye out for as well, getting chased down by Justin Lotus, Christian Venter, Jason Abschmeyer, Mac van der Merwe, Jan Kleinans, Ramona Jonker, Jason McGregor, Tenny Nkube, Gideon Reyna, Andre Seradio, Johan van der Merwe, Eric Christain, Cameron de Bastos, Kurt Glaskin as well, along with Werner Skuman. I mean, you can carry on going through the field, and you've got some incredibly talented drivers that are looking to go and take away the front spot away from these 2 very, very quickly. And while the 2 Hybrid Academy teammates are busy going and chatting to one another, trying to figure out a race strategy, Mahath Musa and Nicholas Manuel are chomping at the bit to go for the lunge. They want to get past and get some clean air as quick as possible to go and make sure that they can get first into the pits and out. But are we going to see early pit stops, lap 1 pit stops, as we've seen in the past, or are guys just going to really push it through? Jan, your thoughts into this in terms of a strategy perspective. You've got 1 mandatory stop. You're on Monza. The last thing you want to do is lose your rhythm.
Yes, but I think it's also going to depend on what happens at turn 1 or during the first couple of laps. If you get through there unscathed, personally, I would try and push it long until such a point where I do feel the tires, starting to let go. If they don't let go, I will try and push it up to as close to the end as possible to do a splash and dash. Forget about doing tires. But Stephen, we've seen the moving from 45 minutes to 55-minute races, opening it up quite a bit. We've seen, last couple of races, people actually taking tires and not finishing on one set of tires because they're purely pushing the cars too hard, or they figured out that it's actually quicker. You gain more in lap times. It also depends on where you are in the pack, or how hard you need to push those tires, or how hard you're graining those tires running in between cars behind you. So, that remains to be seen. I'm just quickly having a look on the side screen. Andre Serrario is still in the pink Mercedes, so I take it he hasn't found a sponsor yet.
No, not as yet. But as we're making our way through Parabolica, everyone's getting tense. Everyone's ready. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to go racing here at the Temple of Speed at Monza for the Raceface GT3 Sprint Championship. And I can't wait to see how it's all going to work out. These two lined up on the line. Let's see who's going to be caught sleeping. 70 k's an hour. You got to hold it. You got to make sure as you get ready to battle. They're going to be heading down the straight, really getting nice and tight against one another, and away they go. Green, 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 as Jim shouts and Tim films. We're heading into turn 1, and it's all turning into a pack. Take a look at De Villiers, though, scooting himself through the BMWs, lining himself on the outside. Maeth Musa locking down that inside. Oh, contact! Contact with Musa, but it looks like he's okay. Maeth Musa getting away a little bit unscathed there, but a couple of cars actually bailing out. One Porsche parked off into the distance as well. So a couple of cars playing a little bit of bumper cars with one another through the chicane. Now it's heading to our secondary chicane. This is where we're going to get a little bit more tight. Seconde Variante, going to be a difficult corner, and it does look like Daniel Demetrius Petro went and outbraked himself hugely, and now having to try to play a little bit of catch-up, as he's definitely going to get a little bit of a warning there to slow down as they make their way through.
Bit of a chaotic start, but we are up, we are away. I see the pit window has just opened, so pit stops can now happen. Stephen, maybe after that contact we suffered on the first lap, we might see a couple of guys bailing into the pits, and that's basically either going to force them to stop twice or reach the end of this race on one set of tires. As we have a look at Andre Serrario, Justin Lotus making their way through, all single file at this stage. Justin
Patterson got a problem. He's getting hunted down by Kurt Glaskin, but he's also going after Justin Lotus. And, well, I mean, just take a look at the pack in the camera angle. Everyone single file, but still jockeying for position.
I mean, it's gonna run like this for the first couple of laps. I mean, these guys are not holding back. As we have a look at Alan Patterson going through there at this stage, losing the rear end a little bit. That's going to hurt his drive, and behind him is Kurt Glashagen trying to close the gap, maybe having a look, but in front, Justin Lotus also not on the hottest of pace. We've got Musa
and Nicholas Manuel also getting into a bit of a fight as well. But it looks like Daniel Demetrius Petro getting a bit of a jump on them as well and bringing De Villiers through. So the two BMWs not warming up as much as needed. Is this something that they've got to be very cautious about?
Personally, from the testing that I've done, it does take the BMW about a lap and a half to get the tires where they need to be, but they are already on lap 2, so there's no reason why the BMWs. Amsmeyer getting a drive through, Stephen. Don't know if you noticed that. He's already in the pits, falling way down the field.
Oh, there he is. And Amsmeyer coming out of the pits, so that tells me he got on the button a little bit too early. The Evolved Racing, Jason Amsmeyer getting on the button, turning off the pit limiter, and getting a drive-through. That's the only way I can think he would score a drive-through. The other one is you jump-started.
Yeah, but you did see him coming out the pit, so that might have been a pit limit infringement he picked up there. We have a look at Nicholas Manuel making his way through. Right behind him, he's got Daniel de Villiers for company as they come up to Ascari, having a look on the inside, deciding against it, just not close enough. The Lamborghini squirming under the brakes, Stephen, so he was pretty hard on the brakes there.
Well, that's it. I mean, these guys are running the TCs and the ABS so low at the moment because they want to maximize as much heat and as much momentum as possible as they go side by side. Daniel de Villiers just not seemingly having enough top end just as yet. Goes late on the brakes. Nicholas Manuel diving on the inside, hoping to keep it, and de Villiers going very, very hard on the brakes, and that's allowed Daniel Petro in the Ferrari. And you can be sure every Italian going and calling and saying, well, let's have our dear old Ferraris moving up to the front.
You mean the Tifosi are out in full force around the track?
Well, I hope so. I mean, if you have a bunch of BMW lovers, contact between de Villiers and Nicholas Manuel, a little bit of argy-bargy, and it does look like Daniel now going right onto the back of Nicholas Manuel and really trying to push him all the way through as he gets on. A little bit further down, 9th and 10th place, you've got Tini and Kuba. He's got Kleinunster going onto the back of him. The Mercedes having some drive, but losing out through the corners, and it seems to be also happening to Andre Serradio. But the guys now starting to figure out where they're going, how they're going to jockey for the position, what's going to be the best idea. But Ryan Ottens out in first place is running away with it, but quickest lap time is his teammate Sanjan Pillay.
I think Sanjan is just trying not to let Ryan run away with this one. He's clawed back a little bit at this stage, 1 second behind or 1.1 second behind as it updates. So, just trying to keep him in check as we have a look at Nicholas Manuel and Gideon Renner in 7th place. He's got Mac van der Merwe behind him for company. Mac van der Merwe only 0.4 of a second behind. He's going to try and get into that slipstream, try and close that gap before the first chicane. 0.3, 0.2 of a second. Is he close enough? I don't think he's close enough under braking. Let's have a look. Is he going to have a look on that inside? Ooh, almost runs into the back of him. That was close.
That
I heard the sound effects on your side. It was that the brakes?
Yeah, the very squeaky brakes. I was waiting for the impact. Gideon Renner, I'm sure, was watching his rearview mirror very, very carefully and going, please, 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 because that was just incredibly close. But it shows, even while the start of the race, the guys are starting to get a little bit more braver, starting to get a little bit more of a run. Getting a little bit closer to the track limits, and that's another thing we've got to bring up, because we've seen a lot of it this season where the guys have been battling with track limits and it's been impacting races severely. I mean, I think Ryan Otten's kind of scored the worst one of them all with a 30 second, then a drive through immediately after he served his 32nd. I think that has so far been the worst of it, but I gotta say, very, very interesting to see how everything's going. Now, I know you've been practicing with a lot of the drivers out on the circuit, and 147.6 set by Ryan Ottens, 147.8. We saw a couple of guys able to get into the 46s, but when you're into a tow like this and you're into a battle, finding the ideal line and the ideal brake markers becomes a lot more challenging. What are the considerations the drivers have to feel? But before we get into that question, take a look. Nicholas Manuel is feeling the pressure from Daniel Petro right behind him, pulling as hard as he can onto the rear bumper. Nicholas Manuel guarding that inside line into turn 1, believing that BM can just brake a lot harder. Sits right in the middle, but loses the drive out. And there we go. Daniel is going to try and out-accelerate him as they make their way through. Side by side, BMW just managing to keep ahead, and I've got to say, very, very impressive stuff. A little bit of contact between the two. It looks like Nicholas Manuel just leaning on Daniel de Villiers. Daniel returning a favor, but these two managed to get away unscathed. But a bit of touring car action, that's for certain.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Both of them still got their rear view mirrors on, so they actually haven't raced yet if this was touring cars. which is not. It is GT3 cars. Steve, you were talking about some of the challenges. I practiced in the practice server just before the race started with a couple of... Oh, see, was it Alan Patterson in the background losing it?
That's Alan Patterson, and he's getting out of the way, but that's not going to help his race, unfortunately.
Nope.
I mean, that's very easy to do when you get caught up into a race, into a battle, and you go a fraction too late on the brakes, and you just get that little bit of rotation underneath you, and it loses out. I mean, if we go back 30 seconds, and let's jump onto his cockpit cam, you can see that tail just snaps out under braking, and he coasts the car forward, just accelerating it out of the way. Oh, and trying to find the gears on the way down. I mean, it kind of gets you all confuddled, and you've got to just try and calm yourself and get yourself back to where you need to be.
Yeah, something like that does unsettle you. It actually looked like he lost the car under braking. I don't know if he braked too late for the corner on turn in, and the rear end just snapped on him. Well done for getting out of the way there. Lesmo 2 is actually one of the corners around the track that you can lose the car quite easily. As we have a look at this battle between Manuel Renner, they also going side by side. They're making it stick through there. 3 cars side by side through there. We have a look at Manuel. He got the inside line there. Is he going to make it stick?
Gideon Rayner.
A little bit of contact, and around she goes.
And now stuck in the middle of the circuit, managing to get out the way, but Gideon Rayner taking a bit of a brunt there. But Mac van der Merwe saying, well, thank you very much, guys. I'm gonna take that with a smile on my face. But now has got Tini Nkube all over the back of him. So Nkube now putting the pressure on for the Spinella Esports, and well, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, these guys they're not holding back around Monza. I mean, they're going side by side through the chicanes, and if you're going to do that type of thing, at the end of the day, contact is going to be kind of inevitable. As we have a look at Tini Nkube making his way down the last straight before the parabolic corner. He is in the slipstream of Mac van der Merwe. Tim kind of lost it there. On the slipstream there, Tini Nkube around Ascari chicane. Stephen, you can see that Ferrari moving around, picking a little bit of aero wash up from the Porsche in front of it. He's going to try and get back into that slipstream. Is the Ferrari going to have the legs on the Porsche? The previous Porsche normally wasn't that good in a straight line. He's going to have a look around the outside, because the inside line, he's going to pass him before the corner before they even get on there. Oh, no, it's swervy on the brakes. A little bit of contact, and they make it through there side by side. That's some excellent racing there.
Mac van der Merwe came off the brake there just to get a little bit more length into the corner. But brilliant racing between the two. But during that whole fight, they're allowing Kleinans to slowly close up. So while Nkube is trying to look around the outside, contact! Mac van der Merwe into the wall. Tini Nkube going and having a bit of contact, and Mac van der Merwe.
And Mac is back.
Mac is back. And
Mac is back.
Nkube is saying, okay, well, let's try that one again. But Kleinans has now got a little bit more of a run on the likes of Nkube, and has got Andre Serradio pulling as well. So we've got the 2 Mercedes. That's Nkube. Nkube into the wall.
Same corner as Alan.
And now it is all out charge. Mac going and recovering, but Kleinans and Serradio going at one another, and it does look like the front end of Kleinans' car's got a bit of damage to it. That's for certain. It's got a little bit of a bend as he tries to make his way through. Serradio all over the back of him, trying to get into the toe, and Eric Kirstein also closing in. So the top 10 still having a good run, and a little bit further down the grid, the guys are just, wherever you look, there's always a battle.
Yeah, Eric Kirstein closed up on Serradio under braking heavily there. He's joining this little 3-way battle of Serradio, Kleinans. What's going to happen down the straight? I see Serradio is closing up. He's in the slipstream. He is closing up on Kleinans. He's going to try and look around the outside. Let's see what happens this lap around. Decides to back out of it, actually, and Kirstein closes up right onto his rear bumper on the brakes. So, chicane, round 2.
Well, Nicholas Manuel also closing into the fight as Quanduplessis and SDS is battling a little bit further back. But it's just interesting to see. It does look like Andre Serradio's got the straight line, but it's just
They're going at it again.
not able to get round. It does look like Kleinan's locking down that inside line, is making life very difficult, but the Ferrari able to get a little bit later on the anchors, and that's allowing Eric Kirstein to constantly come into the fight. Serradio trying to go up on the inside of Kleinan's, not able to do it, and Eric Kirstein, who's lurking around, trying to figure out where he can go, because he's got Nicholas Manuel right in his rearview mirrors, keeping him busy.
Yeah, I think Eric Kirstein will have to try and get past them, or past Serradio and Kleinans as quickly as possible, because as you said, Nicholas Manuel right behind him. It's now turning into a 4-car battle, and the more cars involved, the more complicated it gets. Kleinans taking a lot of turn there. That Mercedes a bit unsettled through there. It is on into the sand there. That's going to hurt his drive, and Andre Serradio will be able to come back at him. But just look at the Ferrari under braking, Stephen. It's as if that Ferrari brakes a lot later. Don't know if he's going to do that this lap. Decides against it. He's going to try and close up to the rear bumper of that Mercedes on the straight as they head down to the first chicane, losing the rear end. Never mind.
And here comes Nicholas Manuel on the charge. Going to line it side by side with them. Nicholas Manuel getting by, but Kleinans has once again got a Serradio problem, trying to go around the outside, hard onto the brakes. Kleinans just coming slightly across the front of Serradio, not really moving under braking, but, well, definitely taking a more difficult line into turn 1 and ensuring that his competition is gonna have to come off the brakes or get harder onto the brakes to ensure that they get by.
So is this why he hasn't sent us a message yet?
So it's turning into a monstrous one, and well, I'm really looking forward to having a chat to the guys.
Serradio on the inside, sticking his nose in there. Yeah, Serradio definitely trying his luck again, unsettling that Merc and actually losing ground to Nicholas Manuel behind him. So he's going to come under pressure. That Merc just a little bit squirmy on exit. That's going to hurt his exit speed there. And Nicholas Manuel tucking into his slipstream. As Tim can just zoom in a bit.
Trying to get a little bit more of a shot, and does look like Nicholas Manuel trying to do everything he can to keep it all in check. But Nicholas Manuel not getting away from Eric Kirstein. Once again, the Ferrari getting very late onto the brakes and is able to close it down. Now we're into the 38-minute mark. 38 and a half minutes. A couple of guys have done their pit stops. As we see, Christian Fenter has done his first lot of pit stop. He's first to the pit stops to be done. Do you think it was a tad early, or do you think it was just done in the right amount of time? Because if we take a look, Ryan Ottens is up in front. He's got a 3.1 second gap over Sanjan Pillay. Maeth Musa in third place, now having to try and figure out where he can go.
You know, it kind of depended on what position he was in. Did he feel he was being held up? Because pitting this early, you're kind of forcing yourself to only, race the whole race on one set of tires, and we don't know with this hard racing that's currently going on between these guys, how are those tires going to keep up with this amount of racing? So it does close your options a little bit if you pit this early into the race.
A little bit further down, we've got Darren Miller duking out with Quanduplessis. This is for 10th and 11th to the Lambo and Ferrari going at it, and it does look like Miller's able to go up on the inside. Quan going and getting pushed out a little bit wide. That's allowed Conrad Volsking to get into the fight to the Porsche. Lurking around, Paul Herber as well, getting a little bit closer, trying his luck. And I mean, this is just out of the top 10. Like, narrowly out of the top 10. 6th, 7th, 8th place is also just all over one another. But, taking a look, and Andre Serradio also having a problem. So a couple of guys landing up with a problem. So let's go to a helicam and see what actually happened, because Serradio went round. And
are they pushing these tires too hard?
Well, this is the thing, because Kleinans went off, Serradio's facing the wrong direction, and Nicholas Manuel taking
We've
advantage
got
of both.
further down the field, Darren Miller also taking a trip
Oh,
around. Ooh.
Nicholas Manuel with a bit of contact, not expecting Serradio to go that late on the brakes, and I think that Kleinans, he just kept his foot in it to try and get away, realizing that there's a bit of a bump and barge, and self-preservation kicking in of, okay, well, I've got to move out the way as fast as possible, otherwise I'm going to be joining in this little merry-go-round.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Trying to get into the clear air, so to speak. But currently having a look at Jan Kleinans making his way around. Behind him, he's got Eric Costain for company. Running over the rumble strips, outbraking himself. That's not going to help you, and it's not going to help the tires either, Stephen. Are they pushing these cars too hard?
I honestly think so. If you look at how close everyone has been, I mean, if we go a little bit further down to 10th, 11th, Paul Herber and Conrad Volsking, they are 0.4 of one another. That means there's not a lot of airflow around his car at the moment. Yes, the slipstream is fantastic, but it's slowly starting to get warmer and warmer and warmer. And that's where things start coming into play, because now everything is getting a lot of heat out there. I mean, it's 34 degrees track temperature. So for any of these cars, it is really, really rough out there. And tire degradation is becoming very, very high, especially over the rumble strips and over the different curbs that are around the circuit. You're constantly knocking that suspension. You're constantly knocking the tires. You're really running into a hard time out there. And it's very easy to make mistakes very, very quickly. And yes, BMWs really quick around here by the looks of it, but the Ferraris having a little bit of a move around. Yeah, they got easier rotation. Oh, as Eric Costain is a little bit elbows out with Kleinans into turn one, and Kleinans deciding he's gonna go a little bit straight on.
Go left.
That's it.
Well, he actually judged it quite good. I don't think he lost too much time. I don't think he gained any time through that. But that has allowed Eric Costain to, get that position with Andre Serradio now back at him. We'll have to see, Stephen. It's as if these front-engine cars all of a sudden are starting to struggle a little bit, slowing the cars down, so forth. I think they've hit those front tires a little bit too hard. Maybe that left rear is not too happy either with the fast right-handers. So at this stage, Jan Kleinans struggling a little bit. We've seen a couple of mistakes in a couple of laps. So one mistake wasn't really his mistake, was it?
Well, a little bit further down, we got Ramona Jonker. He has got Graham Moll onto the back of him. Now, this is where it's interesting. Christian Venter is first of everyone that's put. There he is, right there, 16th position. Slowly been clawing his way through. Jason Absmeyer, he's got to do a pits, and he's actually the only one that's further down that needs to pit. But every single one of these drivers, even if you move up to Tiana's Bertha and SDS Hayes, they're not too far up the road, and there's got to be the consideration of, oh, you're running out of time. When are you going to get into the box? And how much of these tires have taken a knock? I mean, let's take a look. Christian Venter, he's been in the box for 8.9 seconds. That's just fuel. Then you've got Ramona Jonker, 19.8. That's just fuel. Graham Moll, 5 seconds. Paul Herber, 13 seconds. Only ones that have taken tires is Justin Lotus, Johan van der Merwe, and Jason McGregor, but he also looked like he had a bit of work done to his car. He was 41 seconds. Alan Patterson, Quan Duplessis, they've taken tires, and Daniel de Villiers. But that shows you there's a bit of a strategy change that's going on, but you have to put a 32-second gap between yourself and your competition.
Here's another question for you. The likes of Christian Venter sitting in 15th position currently. Now, if the people running close ahead of him, within that, call it 30-second bracket, how long does it take a pit stop, a splash and dash from pit entry to pit exit? let's call it 30 seconds. Anybody that's 30 seconds ahead of him and less, he is basically now forcing not to take tires, because that means if they do take tires, they'll fall further down the grid.
Okay, so if we take a look at that, 5.4 seconds ahead, Darren Miller. Roughly 9 seconds ahead, SES days. Tiana's Bertha, also, he's in a little bit of a rough one, because he's actually falling down. Tiana's Bertha going down into 13th place at the moment. But as you said, forcing the guys that they can't take tires, and I think that's going to move him into the top 10 if he keeps going at this. But what also goes to Ryan Ottens and Sanjin Pillay. Sanjin's second place, running consistent lap time. So Ryan Otten's last lap time, 147.8. He's been running between 47.8 and 48. Sanjin Pillay's been copying his lap times to the T in terms of a consistent lap time. Mahath Musa also can't be taken out of the equation because he's running the same lap times as Sanjin Pillay, with Gideon Rayner only 0.2 off on the last lap time, and that's in fourth. So yes, we're talking about Christian Venter moving up into the top 10, but our front runners aren't too much out of the woodwork as yet.
Here's another one for you. So in 24th place, we've got Justin Lotus. He is only 14 seconds ahead of Ryan Ottens. So do you think Ryan maybe would start thinking of pitting before he catches up to the cars he needs to lap?
Well, this is the thing. You got to concentrate. Maybe it's worth, before you get into the traffic, before you start having a problem, jump into the pits, get yourself sorted, get yourself back out there. And especially with you closing down onto the others.
Sanjin Pillay's falling down the field a little bit. He's in the pits.
Yeah, Sanjin Pillay into the box. And, this is going to answer the question, because Ryan Ottens is going to keep pushing. Sanjin Pillay, as he's dropping down, where is Christian Venter? Christian Venter making his way through, and he's coming through Variante, heading towards Parabolica by the looks of it. So, is Sanjin Pillay going to be lucky enough to get out in time? Hansi Myberg coming past. Conrad Volsking going to be coming past. Oh, it's going to be close. Sanjin Pillay still waiting. Darren Miller too far back. So Christian Venter narrowly missing out on it, but is now going to be right onto the back of Sanjin Pillay, who has to get himself up and going.
So actually you can say, Christian Venter, he's on the cards maybe for a top 5 finish here. So, close into turn 1 there.
Darren Miller a little bit later on the brakes, just managing to eke himself a little bit forward, but now knowing that Sanjin has done a pit stop and he's still needing to do it, I think it's going to be a little bit of a rough race for him. What he can do is just try put up as much of a fight as possible, try and keep pulling yourself along. Sanjin Pillay has to be careful not to lose too much time while caught behind the likes of Miller if he wants to get anywhere close to his teammates up ahead. But I think it's going to be an interesting run. But up at front, Andre Serradio, Eric Kirstein, front engine, mid engine, still having a go at one another. And Eric Kirstein able to go a little bit later on the braking, and Andre Serradio doing his luck to try and keep it going. I mean, let's take a look at the head-to-head. As you can see, Eric Kirstein 0.1 slower, going 0.2 slower through the sectors, but I think he's going a little bit later, a little bit earlier on the brakes to ensure that he doesn't get caught out behind the Mercedes. I mean, they are so close to one another. The Ferrari just seemingly having a slight edge over the likes of Ferrari getting over the Mercedes, but Andre Serradio 0.2 up, trying everything he can, and Eric Kirstein losing out by 0.1 side by side as they make their way into turn 1. Late on the brakes, Serradio tries his luck, but gets immediately having the door closed right across him.
Over the curbs on the cutback.
That's it. Eric Kirstein bouncing all over. Serradio saying thank you very much, and we'll keep going on his merry way for that one.
Try again.
Yeah, go back to the boxing ring on this one. That's for certain.
Yeah.
A little bit
I mean,
further down. Sunjin Pillay and Darren Miller having a go, and Miller not backing down.
No, and I think Sanjay Pillay is now starting to get hauled up behind him. Actually, looks like he's fallen back a little bit. So I don't know if he maybe made a little mistake. We don't know, but at this stage, I think he's starting to get held up, unless Darren Miller has found some, pace from nowhere and actually starting to pull away from him. But I thought, in that little Seradio incident, I thought the Ferrari was incredibly strong on the brakes until I actually realized he outbraked himself, and it went horribly wrong there.
No, it's definitely a very, very difficult one for the guys to try and figure out. And well, there's lots of how things are going to go, and lots of debate that's going on in the grid, and the guys busy chatting on. But let's actually just take a little bit of a look further up the field, as we got Ryan Ottens, who is leading out the pack. So far, last lap time, 148.0. He's trying to carve his way through the field and getting caught up behind one of the Team Tryhard Ferraris, going a little bit off track. Mahath Musa up into second place. Gideon Rayner in third. Mac van der Merwe in fourth. Nicholas Manuel, Jan Kleinans, Andre Seradio. Got Eric Kirstein in 8th, SES Hayes in 9th, and Hansi Myberg is into the pit, so I think he's going to lose out. Yeah, Darren Miller into 10th place. So guys are starting to shake around, move around, really trying to figure out what he can do. But all eyes are going to be on this man when he is going to pit, because so far he's only 8.1 seconds ahead of Mahath Musa in second place, which is turning into a monstrous fight down to strategy. And considering the pit window is only open for 23 minutes and 40 seconds, I think we've got a lot going on right now.
Well, I think at this stage, Ryan Ottens is playing the waiting game. He's waiting to see what the guys behind in the likes of Musa and Renner, what are they going to do? I mean, if they only take fuel on their pit stops, that also forces Ryan to only take fuel. He won't be able to take tires. He'll just simply lose too much time. Remember, there's only 24 minutes left in this race. So the advantage of taking tires and making that time back up again is very quickly starting to fall away. It now only becomes a matter of losing time, not gaining time anymore.
Well, take a look at Sunjin Pillay. He was lying in second place, was only stopped in the box for 19.3 seconds.
That's long.
That's just fuel.
Yeah, but that's a long stop, which means he was fueled very lightly at the start of the race. He had to take on a lot of fuel.
So what is Ryan Ottens doing? Mahath Musa's into the pits, and that's allowed
Only fuel.
That's it. Only fuel. It was a quick stop. Ryan Ottens, though, has got a problem now. Mahath Musa, if he can score this right, I think, depending on where he comes out, Darren Miller and Sunjin Pillay are trying to close down on him. But
he's actually undercut.
He's undercut Sunjin Pillay.
Yeah, Sunjin Pillay. Sorry, I've got a blackout quickly.
So this is going to be a very, very interesting run, because how is Ryan Ottens, Gideon Rayner, Mac van der Merwe, Nicholas Manuel, Jan Kleinans, Andre Seradio, Eric Kirstein, SES Days, all going to respond to this? Even Jaco Krobler, who's down in 13th place, has got to figure out what he's going to do to try and move himself forward, because is going a little bit too long in the race going to be, not very beneficial. Ryan Ottens managed to put a 22.9 second gap on Gideon Rayner, but when you get into the box, it's 32 seconds from start to finish.
Also remember that, Sanjay Pillay was stationary for 19 seconds. That means he was, fueled quite lightly at the start of the race. He had to put in a lot of fuel to reach the end of the race. The longer Ryan Ottens stays out, the shorter his pit stop is going to be.
Well, I think that's the game, as Mac van der Merwe dropping off the road, and that's allowing Nicholas Manuel to close up onto the back of him about a second, and now losing that straight line speed is not going to help you. These two have done battle before, but now they're trying to do it all over once again. So guys are getting into this monstrous fight, and what's going to happen? Well, Nicholas Manuel going a little bit later on the brakes. I don't know. It's a difficult situation. So far this season, we've seen taking tires versus not taking tires. So far, taking tires, you make up 0.2, 0.3 of a second. But you have got a significant loss of time in pits.
Yeah,
if you
and there's
continue to
only
stay out,
20 odd minutes left.
yeah, if you continue to stay out, you're going to land up with a world of problems. So, you know, these are things that you've got to be weighing up, and you can be sure they're trying to communicate to everyone and say, all right, well, what can we do? Chatting to your teammates who are invaluable at this point to say, okay, what's your car doing? How's it behaving? So you can start getting an understanding of what you need to do to move forward.
I mean, absolutely. As we look at Dion Kleinans making his way around, you know, he has had one or two incidents during the race, yet to make his pit stop, running in 5th position. He's definitely going to slide, you know, down that order. Maybe, possibly, well, not maybe, possibly, he is going to, you know, lose his top 10 position. But what is he going to do, Steven? Has that Merc sustained too much damage to reach the end of the race on one set of tires? I mean, it's a difficult one. The 55-minute race opened, and the fact that they now need to do one pit stop, it opened up the possibility for different strategies quite hugely. As we have a look at Andre Serradio, a couple of marks on the front of that Merc. Now, he has had one or two incidents as well. He has yet to make his pit stop. What is he gonna do?
Well, this is the thing. The guys have been battling it out. They've been sliding. They will just do everything they can. And, well, this is where the fight comes in. Going and saying that he reckons Ryan Ottens will not take tires, but he is caught in traffic right now. Put him 1 litre just before the pit window closes, or when he hits traffic. Well, I think he's hit plenty of traffic right now, and the question's got to be asked, when are you going to come in, and how much are you willing to risk it at this point? He's got a 24-second gap to Gideon Reyna. Gideon Reyna has to try and fight into the battle. Mac van der Merwe is 9.6 seconds behind him, but has got Nicholas Manuel 1.3 seconds behind him. So this is turning into weighing it up. So I think Ryan Ottens is going to pit this lap, taking a very tight inside line. Hasn't got a lot of acceleration through Parabolica, and there it is. Coming in, too much traffic, deciding he's going to go in box. Now, the question is, Gideon Reyna, who is now making his way into Parabolica, remember, he was sitting about 24 seconds behind. Can he close down the gap? Ryan Ottens still in the box. Gideon Reyna trying to make his way through. Mac van der Merwe. The main concern for Ryan Ottens at the moment is going to be Mahayath Musa. Ryan Ottens still stopped. Still very, very stationary at this point. Mahayath Musa, he's making his way through. I think he won't be able to make it in time, but Ryan Ottens dropping down 3rd, 4th. Getting close into 5th position as Kleinans comes stomping past with the Merc. And now Ryan Ottens is going to have to fight through the traffic and get past Johan Kleinans, Nicholas Manuel, Mac van der Merwe, and Gideon Reyna, who are in their race as well. They're trying to get themselves a little bit further up the field, and they're not going to make this easy for him. Despite him already doing a pit stop, it's all on the cards. It's bragging rights at this point. As our drivers make their way through, Andre Serradio getting into the tow, Ryan Ottens right behind him. And I know Janneman is busy taking a look, trying to figure out how's this going to work out. Andre Serradio closing down on the brakes, and Ryan Ottens just narrowly keeping up. Ryan Ottens only stopped in the box for 11 seconds, so I think it's going to be a very, very interesting run.
Yeah, Steve, as I, noticed, he just got out in front of Andre Serradio. If he was stationary in that box just a second longer, I think it would have caused a world of hurt for him. But I think at this stage, I think Ryan Ottens pretty much has got this covered. Didn't take tires. It was the right call. He couldn't afford to take tires. There's not enough time left in the race. As we see Andre Serradio getting a little bit squirmy there. I think that Merc is starting to hurt a little bit, and it's starting to hurt his pace. He still needs to do his pit stop. 16 minutes to go. So sometime within the next 15 or so minutes, he will have to make his way into the pits.
Well, there we go. Nicholas Manuel into the box. He's getting himself sorted out, and that's going to drop him down the field. But everything's starting to change. Gideon Reyna out in first place, trying to go the long game as we've seen him do before. Mac van der Merwe doing the same thing. Jan Kleinans along with the likes. Jan Kleinans out in third. Ryan Otten's up into fourth place. But Andre Serradio, Essie Esterhuis, Jason Abschmeyer still needing to do their mandatory pit stop. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because as much as we look at the front guys, we love seeing our front guys go and battle it out. You take a look at Eric Kirstein and Jason Abschmeyer, where Kirstein has done his pit stop. He's in for the race right to the end. Jason Abschmeyer, who still needs to do a pit stop, is just utilizing a toe and pulling himself along. He's trying to stretch out as long as possible until that pit window closes, so he can keep ahead and not fall down the field.
Well, that's the thing.
Andre Serradio with a 30-second penalty.
Ooh. Stop go 30-second penalty.
After he's just done his pit stop. So
yeah.
Too much corner cutting, and unfortunately 30 seconds coming into play. And would that be... That would be getting off the button a little bit early. So
getting off the button.
Unfortunately, the Monza pit lane coming into effect and taking guys down the field, and Serradio going to be, well, if there's a load cell, depending on how strong that spring is, I think it's feeling it.
Some of those springs are like, they're kind of hard, yeah. They can hurt the leg. But we were talking about Jason Abschmeyer. If he feels like the toe is, to his advantage, he can decide to stay out and pit later. But if he feels like he's getting held up by the likes of Eric Stein, I would suggest he gets into the pits as quickly as possible. But at this stage, still deciding to stay out. We'll see what he does at the end of this lap. He is kind of in a battle that is not his battle at the moment, as he needs to make his pit stop with Eric Stein in front of him. Oh, bouncing that Porsche through the curbs. Who ran wide there?
Ramon Jonker, who was trying to hold back Eric Kirstein, went and landed up with a problem. He's actually lost out 3 positions. Lost out 2 positions. I do apologize. And looks like he got passed by one of the back markers. But Eric Kirstein putting enough pressure onto the back of him. Jason Abschmeyer, I think at this point, is just having fun.
Well, as I said, he must feel that it's to his advantage to run in those slipstreams, and that's why he's deciding to stay out. Or, as you said, he might just be having fun, having a little bit of race at the moment.
Well, why not? If not, and Paul Gerber
decided not to have a chicane.
Now, Paul Gerber going and cutting it a little bit short there. He's deciding to carry on his merry way. But this is where this is for 11th and 12th position. You're not going to get it because you need to pit. But you're going to try and give it your all. It's bragging rights to it. Mac van der Merwe, who is in second place, he's trying to push as hard as he can to ensure that he gets ahead of Kleinans and Gideon Reyna, and did take a look to the pits and second-guessed it right before the pit lane. So I wonder if the thought is starting to creep into the head of these drivers of, do I bail into the box? Do I go and get myself sorted? Because they're trying to keep ahead. They're not after Ryan Ottens, but they've got Mahaith Musa, Sanjan Pillay, Christian Finter, Nicholas Manuel, Paul Gerber, Eric Kirstein, all to worry about a little bit further behind.
Absolutely. He just threw the pit crew a little dummy there. As we have a look at Eric Kirstein making his way around, he is battling it out with Jason Abschmeyer.
So Abschmeyer getting ahead of Eric Kirstein, and Kirstein now trying to fight back.
He's going to come back at him.
Going to try go around the outside. And Abschmeyer, all that he's doing is wearing down Kirstein's tires and allowing Ramona Jonker to close down on him, because Abschmeyer is going to come into the pits. And taking a look, Eric Kirstein was only stopped for 14 seconds. So Ramon Yonka was 19 seconds, so they definitely haven't taken on new tires. Absmeyer is just going to keep going. He's going to
Yeah,
give them a rough
he's,
time in this process.
I withdraw my previous statement. He's now just having fun and taking the fights to the likes of Gerstein. And pretty sure he's trying to catch Paul Gerber in front of him. And, maybe try and make a pass on track on him as well. So we have a look at Ryan Ottens. He's behind here on Kleinons. He's trying not to get held up by him too much. He's going to have a look on the inside. And he makes the pass even through even before the corner. So it was kind of an easy pass of him or by him. And, it does look like Kleinons is really struggling with that BMW, Steve. He needs to get into the pits and get it sorted, but decides to make his way around for one more lap. So not pitting at this stage.
BMW.
Oh, yeah. Did I say BMW?
You said it's a BMW. Look, I would appreciate it if the front of the Merc looks like a BMW instead of having the beaver teeth, but, I think it works.
It's been a long day, okay?
Listen, I know we're not big fans of the BMs, but I don't think Mercedes would be too happy with you.
I humbly apologize. First we started butchering surnames, and now we're butchering car names as well. Welcome to the list.
I can only identify by headlights at the moment. I can't identify by the front of cars. Well, take a look. Gideon Rayner up in first place. He's got a 12.7 second gap away from Mac van der Merwe Gideon Rayner in first place. Mac van der Merwe in second place. Ryan Ottens now up into third. Johan Kleinans along with Mahayath Musa Sanjan Pillay into sixth place. Christian Venter, Essie Esterhuis coming out of the pits. Jason Absmeyer still carrying on his merry way. Ramona Jonker still going and actually gets ahead of Eric Kirstein. So Eric Kirstein got caught up behind Absmeyer for so long, he lost out a position. The frustration must have kicked in a little bit there. He's out of the top 10, and now it is a proper fight for him to go and try and reclaim that position. Jason Absmeyer is going to be sitting with a big smile on his face at this point, because he's just going to pull into the pits. But if you want to talk in, drop the mic, cause chaos, and leave. That's what Jason Absmeyer has done.
Cannot. Having a little bit of fun. But, yeah, he's cost him, dearly there. And Jason Absmeyer is still carrying on his merry way. Currently running in 9th position. He's just in front of Jonker. Jonker trying to close that gap. He's just over a second behind. Will he be able to catch him? Essie Esterhuis in 8th position, just in front. In the Ferrari, I will not call that a McLaren. I will call it a Ferrari.
No, you can't confuse a McLaren MP12-C, MP4-12C, the same as that. But SESA is just not having too much straight line. Jason Absmeyer having a lot of straight line. But as it goes, when is Gideon Rayner going to pit and Mac van der Merwe along with Kleinans and Jason Absmeyer? They are the final guys to do the pits. They need to go in.
I predict that they will pit within the next 7 or so minutes.
How do you know?
I just got a feeling, just that feeling that within the next 7 minutes things are going to start happening.
It's going to get a little bit more exciting, that's for sure. But as you see, Mac van der Merwe trying to make his way through Gideon Rayner, making his way through Parabolica, running out a little bit wide. The Porsche starting to hurt a bit. He's going to continue going on. He's going to continue the fight. But down in 8th and 9th place, Absmeyer, once again, causing a bit of chaos. He's right onto the back of Essie Esterhuis, and Essie busy looking in his rearview mirror going, you're going to pit anytime soon, bud? Or are we going to have a bit of fun here? Because I wonder if Absmeyer was in the pits at the start. Just out of the pit window, though. And he started, but there was no fuel that went in. So
maybe I thought that he already did his pit stop. That's a possibility.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I've got a funny feeling Jason Absmeyer doesn't know he needs to pit. I think at this point
I think you're right.
I think at this point... Oh, never mind.
He's going to have to pit now.
Sideways. Oh,
Well
okay.
done for holding it out the wall.
And now got party balloons as tires.
You know what? When you take a spin like that, those tires glow red on you. And it takes a long time for them to cool down again.
Especially after the fight he's been having and
Mm-hmm.
going and sliding off and, well, trying to correct the car as he goes around. But monster of a slide. Well done to keep it out of the wall. But absolutely phenomenal stuff. But in a net first place at the moment, quoting our fellow commentator who is out on circuit, Alan Patterson, net first place, Ryan Otten's net second place, Mayath Musa, who is 14 seconds behind Johan Kleinans, but has pitted. Kleinans has not pitted. Kilian Reiner and Mac van der Merwe have not pitted. Sanjan Pillay up into net third and trying to chase down Mahayath Musa as quick as possible.
Yeah, but at this stage, he is some way down the road. It does actually look like he's lost a bit of time to Musa. Currently 3.8 seconds behind him, trying to close down that gap. We've got a, we've still got a car in between them. So I don't know, Steve. Time's starting to run out. Only 5 minutes. You're 4 seconds behind the car ahead of you. That's only 2-3 laps remaining in the race. You need to make up a lot of time. Now only 4 minutes remaining in the pit window. Gideon Renner still having to pit. Mac van der Merwe still having to do his pit stop. Johan Kleinans, he's duking it out right until the end. And then we've got Jason Amsmeyer in 12th place, who we both think does not know he needs to do another pit stop.
This is it. He's done a drive-through penalty. We can see that. It shows him that he came into the box, landed up with a problem. So he's in theory been into the pit lane twice. But the first time didn't count. The second time was for a drive-through.
Yeah.
So he's just keeps on going. Well, I think it's going to be a very, very interesting run for him until the end of the line.
But he's essentially only got the next lap to pit because there won't be enough time to pit the lap after that because the pit window would have closed by that time.
Well, that's it. I mean, the pit window is closing for a lot of these drivers. But at the moment, Ryan Ottens is having a good run at the front. Gideon Reiner is soaking up, and he's diving into the pits. So Gideon Reiner deciding. Mac van der Merwe, let's see if he's going to come into the pits or is he going to risk it for the biscuit and keep accelerating. No, he's coming into the box.
Make another lap, but he's coming in.
No, he gets himself sorted. So let's see where Kleinans is, as we see Ryan Otten's taking first place. Kleinans coming into the pits. So now that everything's starting to all the cars starting to sort their lives out as they make their way through, Ryan Otten's up into first place is going to be joined up by Mahayath Musa. Going to be jumping into second place as he gets a little bit more of a charge round. Sanjan Pillay in third. And with the championship still high on the cards for the guys, you've got to maximize every point that you can.
Absolutely. I actually want to see what Amsmeyer does. Oh, close getting out the pits there. Sanjan Pillay very close there.
Well, he's got Gideon Reiner. That's Gideon Reiner, who is in and out of the pit. So this is for position for the likes of third place. This is for the podium. And Gideon Reiner is not giving Sanjan a run, too much of an easy run here. It looks like the Max Verstappen livery, the Porsche RB19 car, hoping to do a little bit more to the Hybrid Academy Ferrari. Trying to look up on the inside, not able to make it stick, but really leaning onto the back of Sanjan Pillay at the moment. And this is going to be a very interesting run as they power their way through. It does look like the Porsche is a little bit unsettled. Gideon Reiner's been on that tires for quite some time. He's got 5 seconds stopped in the box, so he put in as little fuel as possible. And Sanjan Pillay, he was stopped for 19.3, so Sanjan Pillay put in a little bit more fuel. Has he overfueled? Well, that's only time will tell. But bouncing over the curbs, Gideon Reiner going and getting all kinds of wrongs.
That's not going to help him.
That's one way to lose a bit
I
of
think
time.
that 19-second stationary stop of Sanjan Pillay was very long. I mean, I think that cost him quite a lot.
So very, very interesting. But here is our leader going and making his way around. Put in some really impressive lap times and still holds the fastest lap time as time runs out here at Monza, with Mahiath Musa doing everything he can to challenge out. And it's good to see the Project Vapor Mahiath Musa has really, really done well, because this would be his first podium.
Absolutely, very, very nice to see. Taking his first podium. Steven, out of the corner of my eye, I'm just keeping an eye on something. Jason Amsmeyer has missed the pit window, so he's not recorded a pit stop.
Oh, that's going to be a 60-second penalty, I would think. So, Ryan Otten's at the moment leading the championship. Is currently trying to really move himself forward. He's trying to get a little bit more of a run. And getting a little bit more points. He's got to worry about Gideon Rayner, who's in 4th place. Gideon Rayner's 2nd in the championship. So he's really trying to claw his way through. Brandon Kruger, who we haven't actually seen, is 3rd in the championship. Daniel Dematras Petro. So Sanjan Pillay, if he can pull this off, he's going to have some seriously good points.
Ryan Otten's going very slowly.
So
Ryan Otten's slowing down.
Is he trying to slow down for the checkered flag? I think he's slowing down for the checkered flag. I think he is.
He doesn't want to do another lap.
And across the line, Ryan
That's very nice.
Ryan
nice when you got an 18-second lead.
Yeah, well, that's it. Ryan Otten's taking 1st place. Mahiath Musa putting himself in 2nd place on an absolutely phenomenal run. 3rd place going to Sanjan Pillay. Gideon Rayner taking points away in 4th place, with Christian Venter in 5th place. Mac van der Merwe going to be coming across the line for 6th. 7th is Johan Kleinans. SES Hayes in 8th. 9th, who is battling out. So we may see a change here for 8th and 9th. Jonker trying to go around the outside. Essie trying to go and keep it all together. Side by side between the two. And it doesn't look like Jonker's got too much of a drive. He's trying to do a little bit of a cutback. Essie going and just squeezing him. And
helping him to the outside.
Yeah, there we go. So Essie managing to keep Ramona Jonker at bay right to the line. Eric Kirstein in 10th. 11th is Justin Lotus. 12th. And going to be sustaining a hefty penalty of 130 seconds by the end of it. Jason Absmeyer. Teddy and Kube coming across the line, looking a bit battered and broken on his Ferrari. Cameron de Bastos making his way into 14th. Conrad Forsking in 15th. 16th is Hansi Myberg, followed by Graham Mull, John Ray Bertha, Johan van der Merwe, and likes with Jason McGregor finishing out in 20th. Darren Miller in 21st, Tianus Bertha, Paul Gerber, 24th, Quan Duplessis, Alan Patson taking 25th, Andre Serradio in 26th, Nicholas Manuel 27th, 28th, Jaco Krobler, Daniel de Villiers 29th position. Well, that's been a rather exciting race here at Monza. The Temple of Speed really showing what it can do. So let's head back up to the commentary box. And gentlemen, your thoughts onto this, as we're hoping to get a couple of guys to join us in the commentary box to do a little bit of an interview.
Well, it's always nice, if you have an 18-second lead and you decide to just slow up on the last lap purely because you don't want to go another lap. I mean,
for a moment, you can do another lap? That's the question you should be asking.
That's the other thing that the first thought that came to mind is Ryan Otten's ran out of fuel. But now that you mention it, did he actually have enough fuel to do another lap?
Well, that's where the question comes in. Can you actually do another lap? Is it going to be beneficial to claw your way through, move your way up? I mean, these are the little things that go on that makes you think, what's going to be the best benefit? So, while our guys are all making their way through, getting themselves all finished up, just keep an eye on the interview room. for any of
It's actually
the chaps to come through.
actually a question I would like to ask Ryan. Did you have enough fuel, or were you just done?
That's it. And while we taking a little bit of a wait, let's see if we can go back a bit and take a look at a little bit.
See, but this was actually absolutely a cracker of a race. I mean, we had all sorts of action in this race. Things went a little bit wrong at the start, must say. Not quite sure what happened there. There was contact in the middle of the field, and a couple of cars went round. A couple of cars struggled to get onto the brakes, bouncing over the curbs. It was a lively start, but that's what Monza brings to the party. And then after turn one, still a little bit of contact. I see Andre Serradio was in action there, so he actually picked up a lot of damage. At the start of the race, that actually hurt him going further into the race. I think I almost said BMW again. That Mercedes was hurting by the time the
juice? The question
is... it's the good stuff tonight.
Okay. It's the good stuff. Good. Taking a look, Daniel De Villiers, Nicholas Manuel, they also had a great run for quite some time. And these are the type of races that we tend to enjoy. The guys all slugging it out, really having a good run and battling side by side. And just, yes, there is contact. You can expect it in GT3 racing. But all the drivers really putting in a huge amount of effort to go and claw their way through here at the Temple of Speed and really pushing the boundaries of our pro class. We have our Pro-Am as well to go and have a phenomenal battle. And these are the things that we're going to be looking forward to. And, well, I can't wait to see how the guys go and move forward as we keep an eye on the races ahead. Tomorrow night, though, is going to be an interesting one as we've got our drivers ready to do battle on the Grid Championship. And, well, it looks like everyone managing, not actually coming up to the commentary box for an interview. I think everyone is a bit worn out.
Does that mean they're not coming on anymore?
I think they're a little bit worn out after it. Maybe going for some parting.
Well, Steven, you said it, tomorrow night. It is the Grid Championship. Totally different race, 80-minute race, 2 pit stops that need to be made. I mean, we're talking of a prize pool of 10,000 Rand that these drivers will be racing for. Let's see what happens tomorrow evening at turn 1.
Well, the thing that we can't also count out, so for anyone that really wants to have a bit of fun and slip and slide in the dirt, we've also got the Raceface Dirt Championship round number 3 starting on the 21st of May this Sunday. So make sure that you join up as we head over to Sweden. We say goodbye to Spain as we move over to the Swedes to go and rock around. So head over to Raceface.pro if you're interested in some Dirt Championship racing. And also, massive announcement, and we're going to chuck it out here, but actually jumping into the box while we got this is Ryan Ottens. So Ryan Ottens just managing to make his way through. So Ryan, can you hear us? There we go. Mr. Ottens, the first place man, managing to run away. And first question we have to ask, did you run out of fuel, or did you just decide that you want to just get the race over and done with?
It was actually to help some teammates.
To help okay, all right. So we're getting the inside
do another lap.
Yes, correct. I had some guys that were running very low on fuel in the chat with me, and they begged. So, you got to play the team game every now and then.
got to help out.
Yeah, as I said to Stephen, it's very nice. We got a healthy 18-second lead, and you can just slow down and not decide not to do another lap.
Yeah, when they were asking me, they said, "What's your lead?" I knew if I said anything, they were going to ask me to do it. So I kept quiet, and then they figured it out and said, "No, you got to stop." So it is what it is.
Ryan,
well done on your race tonight.
Thank you, James.
Take us through the start at Monza, and through the race, you've had some difficult runs. You were side by side with a few drivers. The talent has definitely stepped up for the sprint series. Take us through what it's been so far leading up to Monza?
Yeah, I mean, the grids in general for Sprint and Thursday GT3 Medal States Championship has really stepped up this season. The guys are going really quick. Monza, to be honest, it's all about quali. If you can be up at the front, you can survive through T1 and 2. Makes your life a hell of a lot easier. Other than that, if you're mid-pack, you've got to be so careful and things go wrong very fast.
Oh,
So
that's
quali
as
is
we saw.
important, extremely. I heard there was some drama behind, so I'm very fortunate to be up front there and get a
Slight.
good lap. Tomorrow might be another story because then all the fast boys are here, and hopefully I don't become a bowling ball.
Well, first in the championship and really showing off what you can do. And well, leading the charge, you and the team have also undertaken a bit of a change up this season with a bit of a challenge going on for AM drivers, pro am drivers, gold, silver, anyone to learn all the and well learn and hone their racecraft. Having to do coaching and having to do racing, do you think it's impacted you at all, or do you think it's actually made things a little bit more beneficial?
No, I don't think it's impacted much at this point. We did try and plan the training schedule around the fact that we would still get some practice laps in. So at this point, no. If anything, maybe it helps a bit because you're doing more laps. So yeah, it's a cool initiative. I think it's going to be really cool for the community. I think it's nice that us as the Hybrid Academy and EG Evolve came on board with us. Andres from EG, and I think it's a good initiative to give back to the community. And if we all had the opportunity to learn in the beginning and sort of boost yourself with all the knowledge quite quickly, it would have been a great help. So as Hybrid, we are more than happy to give back to the community. Hopefully it doesn't burn our bums one day and these guys all become faster than us. We did put it in our T's and C's that we can kick you if you do beat us. So
Start loading the cars with bricks. But
So yeah, the guys have been enjoying it a lot. I think a lot of guys have already had a huge step up in terms of their pace. They, some guys, I'd say half of the guys are all doing their personal bests on every track we've been at. So it just shows that a little bit of knowledge handed over makes a huge difference, So we look forward to seeing where this goes at the end of the season. And we will be having a special event race, so that'll be cool. We'll stream that. We'll get hopefully you guys on board there, and just to also give the guys in AM and Pro Am a bit of the spotlight. I don't particularly like doing these interviews, so it's time for someone else.
oh, absolutely amazing. And Ryan, I gotta say, congratulations once again, leading the championship at the moment. Some old faces coming to do battle with you once again, and tomorrow night leading on to the grid championship is going to be a tough one with the likes of like Tariq Adam. We had Luke Addison, and at the start we've had Cody Sherritt coming back with a fight. All the drivers returning to take up the mantle, looking to go for it. But you're hoping to get the Sprint Series championship for the moment, and huge goals in mind. Now, I love doing this one because it's open mic to you to say thank you or go and challenge anyone. Conditions, you're not allowed swearing. You can put out either thank yous or challenges to anyone out there that you feel open mic, it's yours. Be careful.
Thank you. Firstly, thanks to you guys. I mean, you guys are the ones that put on this side of the show. We the monkeys of the circus. You guys just make us look good. So thank you to you guys, because that is a job on its own. Obviously, thanks to Raceface. They do an awesome job with these leagues, and it shows. We've got a huge amount of people. We've got people here every week, and we put on a proper league. So well done to Batis and Hansi and everyone there. And then, yeah, big thanks to Andres from EG Evolved. They sell all sorts of sim racing kits, DDs, load cells. You know, them coming on board and kind of giving us the kickstart to help the rest of the league can only be good for it. So big thank you to them. And then, yeah, just also thanks to all the guys in HA. You know, we're a close-knit team and we really help each other in terms of setup and race pace and getting to where we need to be. And I guess that's about it. And as a challenge, I hope that Luke comes back. I see he wasn't here last week for Thursday races. I hope the whole Genesis team comes out because it's awesome to have the competition and to really compete with the best that South Africa's got. So that's my challenge this season, is to beat them in at least 1 or 2 races.
Absolutely brilliant. Yanneman, anything you want to say from your part?
Well, from my side, I would just like to say to Ryan, I'll see you tomorrow night on track.
Come, bring it. I'll catch you on the breaks into T1.
Most probably you will, yeah. Most probably you will.
Well, talking about tomorrow night, Medal State, the Grid Championship, round number 3 at Monza, with that prize pool of 10,000 Rand coming up. And it's going to be an absolute grid fight. You heard the guys going to do battle. On Sunday, we start with going to Sweden for the Raceface Dirt Championship. So make sure you sign yourself up for that. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And not to be missed, the guys are really slipping and sliding and creating a whole lot of havoc out on the rally stages. Big announcement coming up, and a debut season for the Raceface iRacing TCR League. Round number 1 on Tuesday, 23rd of May at Virginia International Raceway, which is a free track if you're out on iRacing. So make sure you are there to go and have a bit of fun with some TCRs, slipping, sliding, rubbing a bit of wheels. Why not? And next week we head over to the likes of Spa for round number 4 of the Raceface GT3 Sprint Series, Wednesday the 24th. Make sure you're there to come and do battle with the likes of Ryan Ottens and the rest of the team. It's absolutely phenomenal. Thank you very much for joining us here this evening. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, and we'll see you next time right here at Raceface. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Cheers, guys.